And good evening, everybody. Welcome to LOS Champs Finals Week. It is Tuesday evening here, and we have a full 3-game slated for tonight for Championship Week here in Season number 1. We are getting things started off here with a 2v2 match. This is a Tier 4 matchup between the number 12 seed Deathcloud Salt and the number 2 seed Brownies. Now, you look at those seedings like, wow, this is a huge underdog story and a Cinderella story for Deathcloud Salt. But if you look at just their record itself, they're 6-3, where Brownies is 7-2. There's just a 1-game difference between these two teams, and just shows you how close this division was during the regular season. Even looking at the goals for and against, both of these teams are plus 55 in the goal differential, with only a 5-goal difference in those totals. Deathcloud Salt has 153 goals. Meanwhile, Brownies has 148 goals. So this ought to be a super close and fantastic match. They did not play each other, so apparently the party was destroyed. But we're already in the lobby, so it's all good. We're hearing some issues going on in the background. Not sure what is going on there, but we will get that sorted out. Does look like we have everybody here in the lobby. We will be starting shortly. Just having a couple of technical issues on our end. But once that gets resolved, we will head down to the pitch. But again, you cannot look at just the seedings of these two teams. I'm fully expecting an incredibly tight, close match between these two matches. Really, Camo? But I think a lot of it is going to determine on how these teams actually come out and get off on the correct foot to begin with. It's going to be interesting who is the one to establish their play style first. Love you too, Camo. Love you too. If one team is able to establish themselves and really get their play style going, and not having seen these teams from too much prior, not 100% sure if we're going to see 2 sets of 1v1s, if the teams are going to try and play with one another and really look for those passes, how the mechanics are going to look, or what is going to be out on the pitch. But we soon shall see, as already some quick shots firing back and forth by both of these teams. A couple of nice saves coming out, already on one apiece. As it appears, my game is broken, so I can get into a second and make sure I have the names. As I inspect logic here, going to be able to corner looking for that pinch. Doesn't get all of it. Just a little off with that timing, as well as up and down the pitch. Quick pace for these 2v2 games. Typically you see teams in game number 1 in a best of 7 slow it down just a little bit and try to get their feet underneath themselves. But in fact, logic says get your feet under this with a nice click. A beautiful catch, and had more than enough boost, getting that 45 upper right hand 90 shot. 1-0, just 60 seconds in. Yes, Camo Tier 4 is GC1. Be radical. Slowing things down, getting the first couple shots with the patience from Infect Logic. Just sitting and waiting, making sure nothing's going to pop over him. Win that 50, get some boost as well as Caboose. Struggling to find some himself. Home with a high pop, setting up the double of Be Radical. Snuffs that one out instantly, able to get the deny down into the corner. The pressure being put on here by Brownies so far. Continuously sitting at midfield, making sure that ball stays down towards the Deathcloud Salt side. Quick turn away from it. Infect Logic trying to catch it on that sidewall, get something moving back down the other way with a little bit of control. Instead, it's just going to be home. Who sits and waits, gets first high pop, bumping out Caboose, but with that, throws him off ever so slightly, unable to follow it up. It's the pumps now. We've gone from quick pace play to now physical plays. In fact, gets the flip reset, unable to get the double home with a quick shot. Be Radical there for the save. Beautifully done, but already showing Brownies the mechanical prowess, both ground and aerial, getting that nice flick, and now getting the flip reset. has been Infect Logic. It's something that Death Cloud is going to have to pay attention to and make sure that they respect. Be able to play off of those. Already seen them in game 1, proving how confident he is in his mechanics. Radical puts that shot on point home, getting the bicycle save, kicking it over to the corner. Still 100 boost in the tank. Doesn't get the cleanest jump off the wall, but still gets a touch by the first one. It's now a 2v1. Tries to pop this one up high into the corner, get the second down to Infect to allow that play to develop before the rotation came through, but just a little bit off on that read. It's a painting it back over to Caboose. Does get the shot on point, and Death Cloud Salt starting to get a little bit of offense flowing back on their end. Able to get it by the first was Caboose. Keeping it towards mid. The bicycle from Infect kicks it into the corner. Does get demoed, however, with plenty of time as able to get that one towards net, but unfortunately was just floating a little bit too long. Couldn't quite get to it to be able to get a shot on point as more midfield play. And after that first goal, in the first 60 seconds, has been stalled out and more of a defensive and possession bout here between these two teams. Gets a flick over the top of the first one, and Infect Logic is there for the follow as Caboose could not get back in time, and the great timing from the Brownies. The second time you've seen them speed up their play ever so slightly to not allow that rotation come through on the defensive side for Death Cloud Salt. Going for that bump, going for that demo, and not even being there for the save either. Just that little bit of speed up. Even if you don't get that shot on point, you're setting up your teammate for success as Brownies are doing so as Infect Logic sneaks this one by. And that is a quick 3-0 for the Brownies. Quick back-to-back goals to go up 3-0 for the Brownies. A beautiful dime. Infect Logic reading where the defense is coming from. Doesn't get the most powerful shot, but just keeping it away from the defender more than enough. Get it on in and taking a commanding lead here. Just over 60 seconds left to play. Again, this is a best of 7, so definitely not too much emphasis on this first game. But Brownies starting to run away with it here a little bit. Getting that bump onto Caboose after the 5th. He just slows him down enough after an unfortunate miss from B Radical. Infect Logic there to capitalize. Might get a 5th one here, and will indeed. The kickoff screaming into the ceiling and getting down just in time for to beat Caboose, who went for that corner boost, and that's where you see the difference between the style of play. Who is going to go for that corner boost? Who is going to go for the cheat? And how does that ball play off of that? Just because you're the one cheating up, especially the 2v2, doesn't mean you're going to be able to get that touch. Doesn't mean you're going to be able to capitalize on it. But the Brownies doing an excellent job of capitalizing here so far. As that one Infect Logic, how did that one stay out of the net? Death Cloud Salt just trying to get anything going for themselves here in this first game, and the Brownies are denying everything and turn it right back around after Caboose was not looking for that second touch there. Infect Logic does it on both ends. A goal line stand that goes directly off of his nose to the post, to the crossbar, to the post, and out, and gets back down the other end of the pitch. Be able to go up 6-0, collecting his 5th goal of this game. Death Cloud Salt just want to see that ball go into the back of the net here in game number 1. Try to get any momentum moving into the next game, as Caboose had an opportunity to throw it towards the net, didn't quite get up to it in that, or on that touch. Game number 1 on the back of a 5-goal, 1,200 point game from Infect Logic. Brownies take that one 6-0. And it's not like Death Cloud Salt didn't have their opportunities. They had 7 shots, and 6 of those were saved. The defense from Brownies stepping up as well. fantastic play on both ends of the pitch, and I'm curious to see how the adaptation comes now into game number 2 for Deathcloud Salt. In fact, Logic, with those 5 goals, also had 5 saves, seemed to be that first player, the one to be able to get things going and then circle back around and be that last line of defense, or sorry, that first line of defense, pick up those saves, as well as a quick circle whenever Ohm had the opportunity to get that pass and follow it up, get those nice clean shots. So I'm curious to see if Deathcloud Salt doesn't start keying in on that. Do they play for that first touch from Infect? Do they bump him out of the way in case he's circling around? Do they sit back a little bit more and then go for some more physical, some more demo-heavy plays? We'll see how that all plays out here in game number 2 after a real statement game, if you will, there in game number 1 for Brownies. But best thing about Rocket League playing these series, it always resets back to 0-0 with 5 minutes on the clock. But in fact, Logic may have had to reset the scoreboard, but still lighting it up here. Gets a beautiful flick over the first and stays on top of it. Get it over the second defender. It takes just 15 seconds. Continue where he left off. Going up 1-0. Caboose gets the flip reset, gets the shot and sneaks it through. And if that's a goal that you need to get a catalyst for Deathcloud Salt, let it be the flip reset by the defender. In fact, Logic was still there, still got a touch. Insane defense coming out from Brownies, but that was just a little bit too strong on the offensive side, a little bit too powerful on that shot. Deathcloud Salt find their first goal and tie up this game at 1 apiece. Perfect. Soft touch trying to play 450. Radical gonna be the first one to it, goes off that sidewall, doesn't have a ton of boost to work with, just stays on top of it, gets the 50 over to the corner. In fact, he's gonna be the first one there, but Caboose with a quick challenge, able to get it down to the sidewall, couldn't utilize enough gravity to get back down for that second touch. Caboose able to get the 50 down to Infect again, standing tall on the goal line, gets a clean catch by one. Caboose able to rotate back in time. 100 in the tank. In fact, faking the first one, taking his time. A little bit of cat and mouse game. Didn't have a ton to work with there in the corner. Just seeing if Deathcloud Salt doesn't overcommit to be able to get it out to Ohm. Now Ohm in the corner, dropping down the first touch. Waits on Caboose and will go out to Infect. Logic gets a clean high first pop, but B Radical was waiting on it. Just clears it all the way down. A little bit of a team bump coming out from Deathcloud Salt. Not sure a shot was going to be able to come out, but still kills the momentum on both players. Might be just trying to press a little bit too fast on that offensive side. In fact, Logic gets the first touch towards making a leave it there for Ohm, who gets the double. It pitches down into the post and get a little bit of space, goes post to post action. Finds its way out, and P Radical with the patience of a saint. Going to be gifted with this goal as Ohm. I'm not sure if that was a missed input or was expecting a faster shot. Ends up just hopping right on by that ball. P Radical with the open net gives Deathcloud Salt a 2-1 lead here. We are quickly approaching halftime. This is why you can only take a single game, especially the first game, with a grain of salt. Maybe a Deathcloud Salt. As they are coming back here in the second game, but there's one player that you need to keep down if you want to take this one. If you're rooting for Deathcloud Salt, it is Infect Logic. Is just lighting up the scoreboard so far here tonight. Already his 7th goal in a game and a half. Dang near on a goal a minute pace for just himself. Oh, getting this one around the corner, and how about a goal a minute for Infect Logic? This one set up by Ohm. What a pass. Beautifully off that corner there to get it away from Caboose, who is trying to stretch out for it. Just a little bit too much power, and Brownies, after finding themselves down one, take no time. Score back-to-back goals and give themselves a 1-goal lead. Still plenty of time left to go here in game number 2. As a twig from Radical goes off the far post, and Casper is being an unfriendly post to both of these teams here tonight thus far, turning away multiple shots. In fact, Logic out of boost, is playing for the 50, gonna pop it up high. Home does track it down, misses that second touch, trying to get it out to Infect. Instead, it's gonna be a 2v1, and just like that, Death Cloud Salt. It is like they are playing some Call of Duty. Got some akimbo action. Both players, guns ablazing, coming at you. Death Cloud Salt ties it up 3 apiece. Erratic off kickoff, tries to get on by Logic. Realizing, great heady play there from Logic, realizing that Radical didn't have a ton of boost to work with. Wouldn't be able to fully control and flick it, just dashes back ever so slightly, gives himself a little bit of space to be able to catch it in front of the net instead of the challenge. You never know what can happen with the 50 in front of the net. Speaking of 50, that one's going to be just a little wide. Oh, pops this one hard off the back wall. Caboose, great job defending that. Let's get it down to be Radical on the 1v1 is Logic, rushing back, secure his corner, play the 50, and get back to that back wall. That one's going to pop off hard. Logic tracking it down, and with that corner boost, stays on top of it and just beats everyone down the pitch. As B Radical thought he had a little bit more time, or that Logic wasn't going to catch up to it, but if there's one player who is on fire that you just have to believe is going to get every single touch so far in the series, it is going to be Logic. I feel like we're playing a little bit of old school NBA Jam. He is Fuego! Caboose. Great pass from B Radical. Look at the adjustment. The last second adjustment to get the second touch, pinch it off of the wall back towards mid instead of the corner, where Caboose is there and ready to finish it off. Beautiful team play from Death Cloud Salt, who are playing incredibly well with each other. It seems like when they're able to both be moving together, either forward or back, their defense or offense is incredibly strong. It is potent. They're making plays. They're making things work. But it's when they get separated out, if one player gets beat, whether it be by a flick or a missed touch or a bump, that is where they start stretching out a little bit further and not quite as comfortable. And Brownies are able to take advantage of it. They'll come down to the final 10 seconds, still tied up at 4 apiece. Logic with an opportunity in regulation, but doesn't have the boost to get back to it. Caboose kills the ball, and we head into OT here in game number 2. Radical with the tactical whiff. Oh, Caboose gets turned away by the huge bump onto Infect. Logic allows Death Cloud Salt to stay on offense. Infect gets to buy the first one, only has 30 boost to work with, but that is more than enough from what we have seen thus far. Gets a high flick off the back wall. Ohm can throw it back into the back wall. A little bit of Globetrotter action. Third one to the back wall. No one able to follow it up as those shots. I'm going to assume attempted shots are just a little bit high coming out from Brownies, but a nice little leave. And in fact, Logic gets all 5 goals, has racked up 10 in this series, as just gets a little pop by the first one and says, here you go. You've been the high hand, you have been the striker, finish it off, and Brownies take game number 2, going up in this series 2-0. Oh, my goodness, a drastically different game than what we saw in game number 1. Yeah, 6-0 in the favor of Brownies has quickly turned around into an overtime game, and Death Cloud's just one goal away from being able to pick up that game win. So definitely a huge confidence boost. You know, there aren't moral victories per se in Rocket League, but it definitely builds the confidence of, hey, after a 6-0 game, we definitely can play with this team. And that was just a fluke. It was an anomaly. They came out a little bit faster. We've made our adjustment, and now it's time to strike back and start taking games off of this Brownie squad. And they did so with a lot better offense. They were able to win some 50s. They ended up winning that shot total 11-9 in their favor. The real difference was a little bit of a struggle on the defensive side. On those 9 shots, only 2 of them were saved on the side of Death Cloud Assault. So if you're going to be giving up those shots, and there were a couple of them, you know, especially there late in that game, that 4th goal that Brownies was able to get, that in fact Logic jumped off that back wall, was able to carry it over the first player, and then get the additional touch on top of it, as well as early in the game, got the flick over one, and then just beat the second player to it. I think Death Cloud still adjusting a little bit to how potent, in fact, Logic has been on that offensive side. You can't take anything away from him. Has been playing fantastic, solid, and allowing Logic to just be unlocked here in this series, and setting him up for multiple shots with passes as well. But I think for the most part, Death Cloud just need to respect that first and second touch from Logic a little bit more, and make sure that if he has control, you have to be ready for it. You know, it's one thing if the shot's coming or a touch is happening, you're able to 50 it immediately, but it's that control and being able to, you see even there, a ground pitch over to Ohm, even with the demo, playing that, and Ohm says, listen, you cannot count me out. Look at the placement of this shot. Little self-pass there, and you see Death Cloud's all going, okay, it's in the corner, it's safe, we demoed Logic, all is good, we can play it just a little bit slower, collect some boost, get the rebound off of this, and probably get a 2v1 transitional play onto Logic, who has just respawned, picked up some boost in the corner, and Ohm just had different ideas and placed it perfectly in the upper right-hand corner. Radical gets that pinch, going for a bump, but Caboose, a little bit of miscommunication, it might work out! Oh my goodness! The post, Casper, you are supposed to be a friendly post! Has denied yet again a Death Cloud Salt goal. My goodness. Logic gonna be able to track this one down. Gets it to the top right corner after a beautiful touch by Ohm. You know, I wasn't trying to throw any shade to Ohm, how he was been playing. That fantastic shot, or a fantastic pass now on top of that shot, to be able to clear that one all the way down for Logic. You cannot sleep on either of these Brownies players. It has just been Logic who's been in the spotlight thus far. Now 2-0 for Brownies. And yes, Ice Cold Brew. What's up, man? Yep, appreciate it. Always having fun here in the booth. Always having fun. We got some exciting Rocket League match. Got Tankard is going to be joining with me in the next couple of matches, but this one, rocking it solo here. Unlike these players who are utilizing each other's Ohm, setting up for the doubles, not going to be able to have enough boost to get down to it. Now in a 1v1 Radical, and in fact, Radical gets the flick. Logic, look at the patience yet again, and gets off of the back wall to be able to pick up the second save. Isn't going to be credited with that on the scoreboard due to the internal cooldown, but back-to-back saves. But the tenacity of this Death Cloud Salt squad is B Radical. Gets that towards the net and follows it up. Gets a beautiful dunk just inside that near post. Cuts the lead in half as we are quickly approaching halftime and have eclipsed it here in game number 3. Is Caboose going for a dunk as well, saying, hey, we maybe played some soccer, but I all like some basketball. trying to get another goal and tie this one up as Caboose plays that one. That 50 goes just a smidge wide. This is how Deathcloud Salt in game number 2 was able to get their offense rolling. Just constant pressure. May not get everything towards the net. Maybe just multiple boost steals back and forth, sending the ball east and west, but aggressive midfield challenges, aggressive bumps and rotations, and just trying to make sure that, you know, hey, the best defense may be an even stronger offense. If we're not sure that we're able to beat Infect Logic, that his offense, he has got every trick in the bag, has been on point with the accuracy. Don't let him shoot. Get the demos and just keep possession. Final 90 seconds, game number 3 owned. Soft little touchdown into the corner. Radical looking for the bump on that follow to Infect, unable to get it. Gets the second one off the corner home, continuing to float up midfield. It's being a nuisance as Logic gets another save. It shot ever so slightly hard enough for it to be able to clear that post. As the follow-up is coming, it's something that you don't necessarily talk about or see too much within Rocket League. Is you may get the save, you have to make sure the save doesn't get the follow-up either. As in fact, Logic was able to do that, but again, look at the boost steals. Look at the low meters on the side of the Brownies. Unable to challenge that as P Radical gets a nice flick over both players in one deft motion. And Deathcloud Salt claw their way back and tie it up at 2. Unable to get that touch, just looking for a little bit of an airstrike demo. Infect Logic didn't get that flip reset, still makes it awkward as Caboose avoids the demo, gets the save shot, no tie from Logic. Nobody for Deathcloud Salt able to get that towards the net in time as they were scrambling back. But the offensive flurry continues, and the angle from Infect Logic. Again, you know, there wasn't a lot of boost in the tanks for Deathcloud Salt. It's not like they really could have gone up and challenged, but again, I got to believe that they saw where that ball was, how close it was to the wall, and the angle that had to happen, and had to believe that they were relatively safe. Like, okay, we're all good. We can wait for this touch and then play off of it. And Logic just somehow, some way gets that touch, finds its way in, is now up 3-2, is trying to get one more for the road. It's going to be turned away, still keeps it up. Opportunity here for B Radical, but I'm going to be the first one to it. Caboose keeps that ball floating. Logic with the shot. It's going to be a little bit of an own goal there, but had to keep the ball up, had to go for it. And Brownies go up 3-0 in the series. Woo, and it's do or die time now for Deathcloud Salt. Again, you look at the seedings, and they do look like that Cinderella story. They look like, you know, hey, they're a number 12 seed facing against the number 2 seed here in the grand finals, but there's a reason why they have made it here. There's a reason why they are in these grand finals, and it is just, I hate to keep harping on it, but you look at the scoreboard, and Logic is kind of been the key for the side of both the success and the downfall in this series. I'm trying not to sneeze, sorry. Getting the 6 saves, and again, there's one save that didn't count because he had back-to-back saves that were too close. Though, with all 3 assists on those 3 goals for Infect Logic, setting it up, and that's where Deathcloud Salt. And listen, if you're going to focus on Logic, Ohm is no slouch. Getting the passes and got the beautiful shot as well when it looked like Deathcloud Salt was trying to play it just a little bit slower, get some boost, play it a little bit more possessive on their side, and just didn't let that happen as there were 2 fantastic shots for the side of Brownies on those angles, on those placements. We'll see how Deathcloud Salt comes out here in game number 4. Again, it is a 3-0. It is a best of 7. It is do or die for Death Cloud Assault. They must win out if they wish to take the title here in season number 1, 2v2 East Tier 4. And that is the way they were hoping it would begin. Beautiful job there. Look at the timing. And that cannot be discounted how well that timing was by those 2 players. The fact that even though Caboose didn't get the bump, he did not get any contact onto Infect Logic, it made him stall ever so slightly, just long enough, and B-Radical took the instant that happened to get the shot over the top and get that first goal. Beautifully done. Don't always have to get the bump on a bump or a demo play. Just enough to throw him off his spot, just enough to make him hesitate can be more than enough at times. As B-Radical, oh, what a squishy save. Oh, what a squishy save. It is going to be rewarded with an open net back the other way, saying, listen, you want a demo? Demo this. Come at me. B-Radical. What a save, and Caboose is there. I'll tell you what, though, that play was almost B-Radical. If it weren't for the fact that was a 100% open net, which I will die on the hill, that is by far the most difficult shot in Rocket League, bar none. And you can argue that if you want, but you're wrong. Most difficult shot, beautifully done by both members of Death Cloud Salt, and Caboose is gonna get another one. Death Cloud Salt trying to pour it on here as B-Radical gets a massive bump on Ohm. Sends a little bit of panic on Brownies. They end up double committing on that touch. Goes straight to the ceiling, and Caboose waits no time to pounce on top of it. All of a sudden, it is a 3-0 lead here for Death Cloud Salt. Showing they still have more than enough life in them, but oh, says, listen, there's a reason why we're up 3-0 in this series. We ain't gonna give up. We don't want this to go any longer. We want that belt. Gets one back with still 3:30 plus left to go here in game number 4. Doesn't get the strongest of touches, but does ensure it doesn't go out towards mid. Home trying to line up a cut here. Oh, not again. Not again. Listen, we have a lot of counters here in LOS Champs. You know, we got the crossbar counter, we got the open net counter, we got the hat trick counter. I didn't know we were going to need a how many times does the post deny a shot counter tonight. Especially, you can even just say more specifically for Death Cloud Salt. They have been denied so many shots, and you got to believe that a lot of their woes have just been Casper has been so unkind. But B-Radical says, no Casper here. No post to be trifled with. A little bit of a mistouch from Ohm. Too much power on it, unable to catch up, and B-Radical sends it home and goes back up 3. The first one name gets to 50 on Logic. Passing over to Ohm, just keeping it away from the Death Cloud Salt team. Able to secure the boost as well with the 100. Looking to do something in front of the net, but ends up just carrying it all the way across. Gonna be turned away. The stealing that corner boost. And look at the boost meters on the side of Death Cloud Salt. Finally, Casper was a friendly post for Death Cloud Salt and Caboose here. If that would have bounced out again, I would not have held it against either of the Death Cloud Salt players to just slash quit right there. Just, nope, we're done. Yeah, we may be up 3 in this game, but it's over. If that's the way the Rocket League is going to treat us tonight, hey, we're done. That one did find its way on in, and Death Cloud Assault now up 4. Here in game number 4 is Logic to get that into the back wall. Caboose turning it away. Ends up utilizing that evil pose that has been so unkind to him thus far. Help him out on the save. Final 90 seconds left to go. Caboose kicking it into the corner. Doesn't have a ton to work with, just biding his time, trying to get something out to Be Radical. Again, just sitting and waiting at midfield. I think Deathcloud Salt are content with this 4-goal lead. Just making sure that they don't press too far. Don't give up one. That's just going to snowball into multiple goals. You never know what can happen, especially off of those kickoffs. If you give up 1 goal, you may give up 2 and then 3, and all of a sudden it's a 1-goal game. And it's a little bit of panic action. So I like this controlled style from Deathcloud Salt. Just sitting back and waiting. Do not overexert. Do not overpressure. Ensure you are topped off in the tank to be able to challenge anything Brownies are doing. But don't extend yourself too far and give up a cheap one, give up a free one. This might have happened right here. As Be Radical and Caboose combined, going for an air pinch, and then one bad 50 going against Deathcloud Salt, allowed Brownies to get back on top of it. Now again, there's 38 seconds left. This is an extremely unlikely comeback if it were to happen. But if there's one squad that you don't want to give a little bit of hope to, it's this Brownies squad, as Infect Logic gets another one here, gets a nice touch right off of the bounce over the top of Be Radical and Infect Logic. I'm glad I'm not on the pitch playing against them right now. That's all I gotta say. The man is unconscious, getting bumped by his own teammate, ends up going into the back wall with only 15 boost. Ohm couldn't get there. Be Radical able to get this one out towards the net. Ohm with clean catch, trying to get this last goal, has to get it immediately if they want an opportunity to come back and send this one to overtime, but that turn away from Be Radical is going to be enough. And Deathcloud Salt, with a 5-3 game, continue this series on into game number 5. Look at the shot totals coming out there for these two teams, 12-6 in favor of Deathcloud Salt, doubling the amount of goals, or doubling the amount of shots by the Brownies. You still have those 6 saves coming out from Brownies, 4 of them from Infect, 2 of them from Ohm, but just being able to cut down on those opportunities, really helping Deathcloud Salt. And you know, they had some great shots. They're getting those shots on point. They're making the Brownies have to save it. But again, I think a lot of it is just the pressure. They have to continue to mount that pressure, continue to, I don't want to call it a short term, but make sure they're securing the boost, if not stealing that corner, getting the mid, and playing that. Don't let the ball get flicked or carried over the top of you, and allow Brownies to get any transitional play, as that is when Logic has been incredibly potent and incredibly dangerous. We'll see if they're able to continue to do that here in game number 5. As far as the other matches later on tonight, after this is the Tier 1 Tier 1 3v3 East Grand Finals. Top of the top, the highest players we have in 3v3, and then at 10 o'clock is 2v2 East Tier 6 Grand Finals. Caboose going up off the ceiling, doesn't get the cleanest touch, is now going to be incredibly slow on the way back. Here had him doing everything that he can, and it was more than enough to be able to turn that one away. Gets a friendly mid spawn on the boost, but the rush back from Ohm, able to pick up the save. Now going to throw this one up to Logic, secures that mid boost himself. Going to go for a little bit of a carry, maybe a potential ground and air bomb. Again, the quick challenge is coming out from Deathcloud Salt, not giving Infect the space, not allowing him to do what he wants to do out on the pitch. As Caboose, realizing effect, is just waiting patiently on the back wall, doesn't want to throw it to him. You see that it's just a little bit of a change, and it's a heady play from Deathcloud Salt. A beautiful play at that. To know and to pay attention. I don't know if the communication is there, if it's just the read of the players. The ball's just a little bit high for Deathcloud Salt, but they're changing up how they are going for these touches. They're changing up what they're doing based on what the Brownies players are doing, as Infect Logic is doing everything that he can with zero boost. So there's almost impossible. Just throws his body in the way, gets demoed, gets taken out, biting the bullet, but allowing the goal to go on through. And Brownies up 1-0. Able to get that to the back wall, can't get the follow-up touch. Slowing things down in a 1v1 with me. Radical, who says 1v1 this just instantly challenges the shot for me. Radical is not strong enough to get up by Logic, who didn't have any boost, just fell in the right place. Radical can't get the flick over the top of and Logic turning away, getting towards midfield, but this is where Deathcloud Salt have been sitting and waiting and playing their best this midfield play, but in fact, Logic with a huge clear, doesn't have any boost to work with, but just gets wave dash after wave dash onto that ball. It is so difficult to read. If you don't know that he doesn't have boost, you're expecting him to go on a little bit faster, getting a pop, get a flick, get anything. All of a sudden, it's just multiple wave dash dribbles into it. And it did get turned away, but look at all the pressure. Now the Brownies have mounted until 150 from B Radical. Pinches out towards mid. To Infect Logic. Steal some boost, play a 50, Radical bumps him out, Boost gonna be the first one on top of it. 50 by Ohm, sitting out towards mid. Radical gets the first one and hands over possession, but another 50 from Caboose. They're just going for this ball. Is Deathcloud Salt. They are not having any care or any concern about what may happen behind them. They know that they must be aggressive at all times. They must almost be Radical at times to be able to get this one back. Still down 1, 90 seconds left to play on their last life. The Brownies trying to finish it off, trying to get this last game and take the championship here in Season 1 of LOS Champs. B Radical clearing this one all the way down to the back wall. Calm catch. Gets to the first one. Radical hunting that demo, unable to get to it in time. This 50 goes into the corner. Trying to get the read. Not sure if he got bumped out of the way or not. Was a little bit too far. Get that follow-up shot. Logic gonna get bumped out of the way. Up and down the pitch is how game number 1 started. Just pace up and down the pitch. Neither team able to get any sort of footing, any sort of ability to get a play until it is Infect Logic. And again, you can't blame Deathcloud Salt and B Radical for turning on that so fast. It was an aggressive play. It was, I don't want to say it was the wrong play, but it almost felt like that was the necessary play that he had to go for to try and get this game back, to try and get that goal. As nothing has been working here for Deathcloud Salt until B Radical gets that one. Didn't get the pinch, got the bump on Caboose, but it was too little too late, and B Radical trusting the read on the back wall that the touch wasn't going to happen. 27 seconds left. There's a chance. Caboose gets 55. Logic. Radical going to pick it up, but doesn't have any boost and got bumped away from his own corner boost. Is now just kind of sitting on an island and still doesn't have anything to work with. And Logic just takes advantage of it, slow playing it. You see it. B Radical hoping that was going to be a ground pitch, hoping it was going to be a slow play. was able to get a couple of pennies and dive towards the ball, but the hesitation on that shot, the lack of aggressive play is a couple of fakes coming out. I think that was an attempted fake by Deathcloud Salt, but in fact, Logic, I don't know if he was expecting it, if he was just going to try and play 50 and pop it up high and not allow Deathcloud Salt, but it ends up working out in his favor. And Brownies get back-to-back security goals, go up 4-1 here in game number 5, and are going to be your 2v2 East Tier 4 LOS Season 1 champions. Congratulations to the Brownies, able to pick up that win. It takes 5 games, but they are your victors. Like, absolutely cannot discount anything that Deathcloud Salt did. Absolutely fantastic play by them, and I'm sure that they are disappointed in the fact that they weren't able to get that championship. You know, they're disappointed that second place wasn't what they were going for, but that is nothing to be upset about. That is a fantastic placement, especially coming into the playoffs as a 12 seed, proving that they are most certainly one of the top 2 teams here in this division for LOS Champs Season 1. So huge congratulations to them, but the night belonged to Brownies, as Infect, Logic, and Ohm, with their offensive and defensive prowess, just absolutely lit it up out there. As Logic was just so difficult to stop. See if we have anyone coming in for an interview here for the series. But yeah, Logic was just absolutely on fire. And when you have a player like that, that is just unbelievably unstoppable and doing everything, it makes it real easy for Ohm to sit back and play. And it does look like we are going to get Ohm here in the booth with us. As Ohm, first and foremost, welcome to the booth and congratulations, LOS Champs Season 1 victors. You guys are the #1 team here for Season 1. I know, first take, how does it feel?
Well, I mean, it's good, but could have been better. I should have scored like more goals. I just whiffed them, but it happens. It happens. But shout out Logic, you know, the carry, he the GOAT for real.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about. You know, you said you missed a couple out there, but Logic was just on fire. And, you know, with the way that he was scoring the goals on the first couple of games, was it just something that you're like, okay, I can sit back and just let him be unleashed? Was it an adjustment of gameplay, or was it just, all right, let's go, and he just kept making plays?
Well, I mean, yeah, cause like he's a ones main, so you know, yeah, I just let him do his thing. I'm the enabler, so that's what I did. Just let him shine.
Yeah, it definitely showed up there and had those mechanics, and were playing very well. And you guys mastered, you know, for being a ones main, sometimes it's a little difficult for that second player to enable to mesh with that. You're setting them up and getting a ton of assists as well. But, you know, so game 1, you guys won 6-0. Game number 2 went to overtime, and then game 3 was close as well. What was the adjustment you guys needed to do to start to pull away from? What did you see them change up on you guys that kept it so close?
I mean, from their end, I don't really notice that much. It was mainly for us. I think, especially me as well. Got a little bit too overconfident and overcommitted on certain plays, or just made some mistakes, but cleaned it up at the end.
Absolutely not. You know, going into that last game, you know, you're up 3-0 going into game number 4. They end up taking that game. Was there any mind reset? Was there anything you guys are talking about of, hey, this is how we need to come back and we need to get this game? Or was it just, listen, it worked for 3 games. We're not changing anything yet. One game may or may not be a fluke. Let's just play our style and go out and win.
Yeah, after that we were just like, all right, let's just lock in and just end it. No more messing around or even trying to mess around. Just let's get this done.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, again, congratulations on the championship here tonight. Again, on that victory. LOS champs 2v2 East Tier 4 winners. Be able to carry that proudly. I'll let you head on out and rejoin with Logic and celebrate that before you go. And the floor is yours. Any shout outs or anything you want to say while you're here?
I mean, shout out Logic for doing everything, but I'm the enabler, so I enabled him to do everything, I guess you could say so. But yeah, that's pretty much it, though.
Awesome.
And thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thank you for playing here this season. Again, congratulations on that win. Hope to see y'all back. Try to defend that next season here in Season 2.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Again, that was Ohm on from the victorious Brownies squad. Again, 2v2 East Tier 4 champions. But again, we also cannot discount Death Cloud Salt coming as a 12 seed, able to get that second place. Wasn't ultimately what they were going for, but just ran into a massive brick wall against this Brownie squad, and the night ultimately belonged to them. Fortunately for us, though, the night is not over. Still have 2 more matches left to go. First one coming up here in about 7 minutes at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Not only will I be getting a fantastic, beautiful face in the booth, but we'll also have one of the marquee, fantastic matchups in the entire league. It is going to be 3v3 East Tier 1 with Team Sonus versus Moo Moo Meadows. Don't go anywhere. More Rocket League LOS Champs Season 1 Championship. English is hard, ladies and gentlemen. Still to come.